Hey, and welcome back to my studio. I'm Marty, and today we're going to talk a little bit about recording electric guitar. So when it comes to recording electric guitar, I mostly use 4 different ways. And the first one would be recording an amplifier, so electric amplifier like I have in the back here, with 1 or 2 microphones, depending what microphone and what tone you're after. The second option would be a kind of like a solid state amp that you have in the rack. For example, Kemper has a simulation, so it's a digital amp, and it has also analog output that you can directly record into your audio converters. You can put it in the rack. I think Marshall has one, Yamaha has an amplifier that you can just put into your rack. So this is a guitar amplifier without a cabinet or without a box actually. So it just has a direct output at the back of the unit that you connect to your audio interface and into your computer. Third option that I also use is recording a DI, and this can be very useful, for example, when you record it together with the guitar amplifier, so you can split those 2 signals and you have always a backup. And number 4 would be just straight recording your pedal board if you have one. There are some pedals that have 2 outputs, like a output to the amplifier and 1 to your mixer that you can actually also use for your audio interface. So this is kind of like a DI version, but you use actually the effect of your pedal that you want to use. So for example, like your overdrive pedal or your distortion pedal that you put together with a slide compressor and also, for example, a reverb or delay, so whatever you want to use. So recording a pedal board is also a great option for recording electric guitar. And how those 4 different ways work, and especially sound, I'm gonna check out now. Okay, so here is the setup for the first way, recording an amplifier. Probably the most easier and convenient way is to use just 1 microphone, but I really like the sound of 2, so that's why I use 2. It's mostly 1 ribbon microphone and a condenser or a dynamic microphone, for example, like a Shure 57. Sounds really great. I have here now a condenser microphone, which is a really affordable 80-20-20, and a really affordable ribbon microphone, which is actually from Thomann itself. It's the RB100. It actually sounds really great, and can't complain so far about that. And so I'm gonna grab here now the small camcorder. I'm gonna show you a little bit more details. Okay, so here is the setup, the 2 microphones. This is the AT2020 from Audio-Technica. This is the RB100, the ribbon microphone. When you look at the center here, this is the cone, approximately the center. The condenser microphone is not right in the center, but when you look above, it's facing the cone directly. So a little bit to the right. And the ribbon microphone is a little bit offside of the center. It's the more you get outside here, the darker and the mellower gets the sound, not that high in detail. Works really great. So this microphone picks up a lot of bass, and this microphone picks up all the high end and the grittiness of the amp. As far as the distance goes, probably can place 2 fingers in there, can play around with those settings. The farther you move away, the more room you pick up. Gets a little bit more reverby. Depends really what tone you're after. Can also play around with the setting like the microphones. As I said, you can move outside, can move 1 farther away, and so many different options there, and lots of fun to play with around. As far as the amp goes, it's the Champion 100. You've probably seen in my other video where I made a review about that. You can check that out too if you're interested. It's in the blackface, the number 2 voicing. Guitar is directly connected to the amp, and the microphones go here directly into the Fire Studio projects 1 and 2, and going straight into Logic here with condenser and real microphone tracks. Okay, so I'm going to record a little bit, going to check out how that sounds. So let's hit record here. Going to record a little bit. As you can hear, it has a very, very warm sound actually, but really with a grittiness to it, slightly overdriven. Let's head on to the second option, which is now the rack unit, the Powerplant from Art. Right, so here is the rack unit, the Powerplant from Art. It has a clean channel and a overdrive channel. I usually don't use the clean channel. I mainly record a real amplifier or a die signal with that. But I really like the overdrive channel. And as you can see, the harmonic is all the way up, input drive all the way up, the thrust on +2, the mids taken a little bit out, and the edge, so the treble, is around 4 to 5, and the master volume here on the right side. Again, the guitar is connected directly into the amp. The Powerplant goes on the back out, and this red cable is actually the cable from the back, and it goes straight into the Firewire project again, the third one. And here we have the channel of the electric guitar, the Powerplant. So let's check that out, how that sounds. All right, so as you hear, probably hear quite a lot more overdrive and distortion. I had changed also the guitar. I really like on heavily distorted guitars, humbuckers. I think they sound a little bit thicker, way more bass to it, and I really like that sound. So this is my Epiphone Sheraton 2, and now let's play a little bit. Okay. So really thick sounding, quite a lot of harmonic distortion also because I turned it all the way up. And this is mainly my go-to sound for really heavily distorted guitars. You can really place it on the left and right side, and you get this really widespread stereo image of two overdriven guitars. So works really great. All right, so option number 3 would be the direct input into a software amplifier. Just used here a standard Logic that I adjusted a little bit. It has a little bit of a kind of twang to it, a little bit distorted and very bass heavy actually. Go now from the guitar into the Fire Studio again. So directly input, no pedalboard or any effects to it. And well, let's check that out, how that sounds. All right, so I'm gonna use headphones now to hear it a little bit better. There you go. Probably really hear the thickness and also the very bass heavy sound. So let's try a little bit. Okay, right, so it sounds completely different again. It has way more bass, and there are actually thousands of different amp models that you can try. This is actually just an option that I use, and as I really like the ease of use, just using a DI with a software amplifier, I really like the kind of the sound of a real amplifier which is mic'd. But again, there are lots of different ways that you can actually get to a great song and to a mix. So this is option number 3, using a DI. And let's head on to the last option, which is actually recording just the pedalboard. So kind of a mixture of a DI and effects, all right? Okay, last but not least, there's also the option to record, as I said, just the pedalboard. I'm gonna grab my camera again. And here is the pedalboard now. So I don't have actually that much, just a wah-wah pedal, a compressor, a electroharmonics, a organ machine, which is very fun to play, and a Screamin Blues from Digitech, which is actually a overdrive pedal. Those other two is just the amp selectors and the channels for the amps. This breakout cable here is actually just a dry signal from that certain point here of the B9 that's unaffected from any effects, and it goes, for example, straight into the Art Powerplant that I played before, so you can actually record always 2 signals at the same time. So for example, a mic signal and the DI signal, or the DI signal with a signal of the Art, so I always have a backup signal going into the DAW here. So record always 2 signals at the time, and I can play around with that, whichever signal I want to use later on. All right, so let's hit record here. We're gonna play a little bit. So again, the Stratocaster, and also I'm gonna grab my headphone here. See if we have a signal. Yep, so that's actually like a DI, a standard signal. And what I can do now is actually just select for example, a compressor. So really keeps those transients a little bit down. And then, for example, I also have a wobble pedal, so let's engage that. All right. And of course, you can combine that also with, for example, the overdrive pedal. Or let's move on, for example, to the benign organ machine. And also, if you want to overdrive that, sounds really weird. Maybe less drive. Okay, so as you have seen many different options, you can also, for example, if you reverb or delay, you can print that also into the computer if you like the sound of that. So that would be option number 4, recording just the pedal board, so just your direct effects. All right, so that's it. Thanks for watching again. As you've seen, there are actually quite a lot of ways I can record electric guitar, and I believe there are just more or even more ways to record electric guitar. Those 4 are mainly the ones that I mostly use when I start a new project or record a new song. So my go-to approaches to record electric guitar, and I think they work really great. And maybe you have some ideas for your own setup that you can try out, or you probably have known it, or leave in the comments below what you actually do. So please subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like the videos that I do. And as always, happy recordings, and see you in the next video.